निर्मत्सरौ पूजितौ श्री चैतन्य कृपाभनौ भुवि भुव भारावतारकौ वन्दे रूप सनातनौ।
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare.
All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda. Chant and be
Hare Krishna, all glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda, and all glories to the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. And welcome everyone around the world. Good morning to some of you, and good evening to some others. So this is a global broadcast of truth, because everyone is looking for truth. Actually, in the media, they're always presenting this fact over that fact in a search for truth. What is truth? In the material world, this is called prajalpa, useless conversation. People just like to hear themselves talk. In the spiritual realm, it is Shastra, Guru, and Sadhu. It is authoritative information that comes from a variety of sources, and it's not prajalpa, useless conversation. And this is common in the spiritual realm, that there are many what we call sahajiyas. Oh, sahajiya. What does that mean, Vishwakarma? Well, it means somebody who's pretending to be on an elevated spiritual platform, but isn't. They're pretending. There's another term that's used. They're posing in this. They're demonstrating that they're something they're not. They're posing. And this posing and pretending goes on in many levels, because a true devotee of Krishna practices what they preach. They don't pretend. This is not a popularity contest, which many people are involved in. They want to be famous. And you can become famous in spiritual circles, yes. And you can become wealthy in spiritual circles. And you can be worshipped in spiritual circles, just like in the material world. People worship other people that are successful in whatever they do. It's common. It's called fans. You have fans. And it nourishes the false ego. That's what it does. You think, oh, I'm so important. Are we really important? Well, for a short period of time we are. And then birth, death, disease, old age comes, and you disappear. Just like we have that famous comedian, if you can remember his name, Robin Williams. For a period of time, he was very popular in the material world. But then he committed suicide. I wonder why Mr. Joke had to kill himself. And do people think about him nowadays? No. He's irrelevant, because time and tide wait for no man, and we move in the world of change. Things are ephemeral. They're always in change. And what is that real change? Birth, death, disease, and old age. It's a problem. It really is for everyone. Because we're trying to be important in this world, but in reality, we're insignificant. Because of our very nature. We're 1/10,000th the tip of a hair size, the spirit soul is. The body, as we talked about yesterday, it's not worth much. Hey, Mother Richisha, it's worth, I believe, $78 in chemicals. Hey, Ram Raghava, how much is that? That's throwaway money. Doesn't mean anything. But for people that are covered by false ego, they think they're so important. No, they're not. And this is going on in the world. So we're trying to get out of this illusion that's what we're doing. And we've been blessed with the association of a bona fide spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, who gives us the insight, the transcendental insight through the ear. Prabhupada was speaking about this, that people, a lot of people think that they get knowledge from the eyes. Eyes are very imperfect. Look at all of us here in the room. Vijaya Pandit's got glasses on. Pure Angelo's got his glasses on. I'm just looking at the ones that are on our cameras. Yaśodā has his glasses on. I have my glasses on. Ram Raghava has his glasses. Why? Because the eyes are imperfect. The nostrils, what can you acquire from them? My nostrils kind of work, Yaśodā. Not really. Sometimes I can smell, sometimes I don't. I don't care. What can you do? So this sense perception for acquiring information is most significant when you use your ears. The devotee, Prabhupada said, the devotee sees through their ears. The form of Krishna and the sound of Krishna, the form of the pure devotee and the sound of the pure devotee are non-different, but people misunderstand that. Oh, you have to be alive in your body to be accepted as real. No, that's a mistake. That's the business of the sahajiyas that are trying to pose, posture, and pretend to be bona fide Diksha gurus. It's insanity. And recently, there's a big story in the other movement that we used to be part of, the ISKCON movement, that now one of these gurus is in jail. And people are asking the question, well, why is he in jail? Well, must be some kind of karma, I'd say. And you can analyze it to yourself. There are two parts to Prabhupada's existence in this material world with us. There's the November 1977 pastimes, yes. And then there's the post-77 pastimes, too. But they're all pastimes. They're all related to Śrīla Prabhupāda's tremendous service that he brought to the material world under the inspiration and guidance of his spiritual master, Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupāda, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. The Prabhupada is the greatest exponent of Krishna consciousness in the history of the modern world. And we are very fortunate, all of us, to be a part of, some of us, of the pre-pastimes, the pre-November pastimes, and similarly, his post-77 pastimes. This is all transcendental. And I wanted to say another thing, if I could. The most important thing is make your house Vrindavan. Make your life a spiritual experience every day. You get up in the morning, you have your rituals, let's say, that you do. I know Yaśodā has a lot of spiritual practices that he performs in the morning. It's great. It's wonderful. And our one of our god brothers, Vibhadra Goswami Das, he wants to learn them. He's very anxious to learn all these practices. But the point is, you have to make your life Vrindavan where you live, because it's hard to travel to Vrindavan. You gotta have money, you gotta have time, and you gotta be able to have health to be able to go there. But you can create Vrindavan where you live, and we know it. Hey, Mother Ruchisha, you know it. Where you live in the mountains of Quebec. But her place is Vrindavan for her because she creates that environment. That's example. You create Vrindavan or Mayapur Dham where you live, and then you share it with others. I know when people come to my house in Hamilton, they walk in, it's like a different world. They're like, wow, where am I? Well, we try to give some atmosphere, some positive atmosphere, and give people some inspiration. We do not take association from the karmis. We give association. We do. We don't take it. You have to surround yourself, and we're going to read about this, give up the association of non-devotees. We're going to read about this again in Nectar of Instruction this morning. You know, I was thinking, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, we've been reading this Nectar of Instruction again. It's not the first time we've been reading it, and all the verses that are in the Nectar of Instruction, I was reading, oh, this has been such nectar, at least for myself, and I know for all of you that come, because you come on 3 times a week to hear philosophy of Krishna consciousness from Prabhupada. I thought, what am I going to do? This other section has been so marvelous. I thought, well, how can I continue to bring this philosophy forward for a very interested group like all of you? Like Ram Raghav, I know you're interested in philosophy. Mother Shreya, Shresta's Rupa, Devidas is very interested in philosophy. Rochisha, all of you in the group are very interested in philosophy. I thought, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. And then I thought, let me go back and check out the Nectar of Instruction. Yeah, let's see. Now, I've been all over the place here. I was up at the end of the book, reading about Radha Kunda and Shama Kunda. I thought, oh, that was really good, and I can't go there. And I've been reading at the beginning, and I thought to myself, you know something? Self? Oh yes, what do you think? Well, everything is ever fresh. No matter how many times you read something from Śrīla Prabhupāda, you get new realization from it. Jnanam Vijnanam. I thought, heck, you know what I think we should do? Let's go to text 2 of Nectar of Instruction. And we'll move to that section of the program right now, which is text 2. And we'll read into the purport. I've been reading the purport a few times in preparation for the class. Okay, let's go. Let me do the Sanskrit first. Sorry. Achahara prayashcha prajalpa niyamagraha jana sangas chalolam cha sadbhir bhakti vinashyati. And we'll move down to the verse, the translation. One's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities. Spoiled. So we've got to make sure that we protect our bhakti lata bija by not doing these things. Your bija, your plant. We're watering the plant, but it can be destroyed by following these 6 activities, which are not recommended. Eating more than necessary, or collecting more funds than required. 2, over-endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. 3, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. And what is that mundane? Everything that we hear outside of the transcendental sounds of Śrīla Prabhupāda and the holy name of Krishna. Mundane. For practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement or rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically. And Prabhupada uses the term whimsically to describe his God brothers' whimsical behavior. 5, associating with worldly-minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. That's very difficult, to associate with these people and not become affected. And 6, being greedy for mundane achievements. Being greedy for mundane achievements. Sahajiyism. Human life is meant, Śrīla Prabhupada says in his purport, for plain living and high thinking, since all conditioned living beings are under the control of the Lord's third energy. This material world is designed so that one is obliged to work. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has 3 primary energies or potencies. The first is called Antaranga Shakti, or the internal potency. The second is called Tatashta Shakti, or the marginal potency, okay? And the third is called Bahiranga Shakti, or the external potency. So memorize these 3. The living entities constitute the marginal potency, and they are situated between the internal and external potencies. Being subordinate as eternal servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Jivatmas, that's all of us, or atomic living entities, that's all of us, must remain under the control of either the internal or external potency. When they are under the control of the internal potency, they display their natural constitutional activity, nityo nityananam, namely constant engagement in the devotional service of the Lord. This is stated in Bhagavad Gita 9:13. Mahatmanas tu mam partha devam prakritam ashritaha bhajanti ananya manaso gyatma bhutadim avyayam. O son of Prita, Krishna says, those who are not deluded, the great souls are under the protection of the divine nature, external energy, internal energy. They're under the protection of the internal energy. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible, all-pervasive. The word Mahatma refers to those who are broad-minded, not cripple-minded. Cripple-minded persons, always engaged in satisfying their senses, sometimes expand their activity in order to do good for others through some ism. Oh yes, nationalism. That's the MAGA group, nationalism. Actually, it's both groups. Humanitarianism or altruism. Those are the people who feel guilty, so they try to help others. They may, with their money, they may reject personal sense gratification for the sense gratification of others, like the members of their family, community, or society, either national or international. Concentrated selfish interest and extended selfish interest, Prabhupada explains. Actually, all of this is extended sense gratification from personal to communal to social. This may all be very good from the material point of view, but such activities have no spiritual value. You think you're the body. This may all be very good from the material point of view, but they have no value. The basis of such activity is sense gratification, either personal or extended. Only when a person gratifies the senses of the Supreme Lord, he can be called a Mahatma or broad-minded person. And Prabhupada's teaching us that. In the above quoted verse from Bhagavad Gita, the words Devim Prakritim referred to the control of the internal potency or pleasure potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This pleasure potency is manifested as Srimati Radharani, or her expansion Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. When the individual jiva souls, that's all of us, are under the control of the internal energy, their only engagement is the satisfaction of Krishna or Vishnu. This is the position of a Mahatma. Mahatma means great soul. If one is not a Mahatma, he is a Duratma, or cripple-minded person. Such mentally crippled Duratmas are put under the control of the Lord's external potency, Mahamaya. Instead, this is a summary of the philosophy of human life and how to get out of it by Śrīla Prabhupāda. Indeed, all living entities, the spiritual philosophy as well, all living entities within this material world are under the control of Mahamaya, whose business is to subject them to the influence of the threefold miseries: Adidevaka Klesha, sufferings caused by the demigods, such as droughts, earthquakes, and storms. That's going on all the time. Adibhautika Klesha, sufferings caused by other living entities like insects or enemies. And Adiyatmaka Klesha, sufferings caused by one's own body and mind, such as mental and physical infirmities. Deva Bhutatma Hetava, the conditioned souls subjected to these three miseries by the control of the external energy, suffer various difficulties. So there's 7 miseries: birth, death, disease, old age, and these 3. 7 total miseries that we're all subject to. The main problem confronting, here Prabhupada speaking, confronting the conditioned souls is the repetition of birth, old age, disease, and death. In the material world, one has to work for the maintenance of the body and soul. But how can one perform such work in a way that is favorable for the execution of devotion of Krishna consciousness? Everyone requires possessions, such as food grains first, clothing, money, and other things necessary for the maintenance of the body. But one should not collect more than necessary for his actual basic needs. This is natural principle. If this natural principle is followed, there will be no difficulty in maintaining the body. I know many of you live very simply, and it's to your credit. According to nature's arrangement, living entities lower on the evolutionary scale do not eat or collect more than necessary. Yeah, we see that. Consequently, in the animal kingdom, here's the example, there is no generally economic problem or scarcity of necessities. Look at America, how they eat so much at the fast food places, eh? And even their president, one of his favorite places to go eat is McDonald's. There is generally no economic problem. If a bag of rice is placed in a public place, birds will come to eat a few grains and go away. A human being, however, will take away the whole bag. He will eat at all his stomach can hold and then try to keep the rest in storage. That's so true. You know, in baseball here in Canada, they have on Yaśodā, they have a Tuesday, all you can eat hot dogs. It's for $1. You just pay you have to pay $1 when you go to the game, and it's a promotion by Schneider's Meats. And if people eat 100 hot dogs for $1, $100. They're crazy. And you know, everyone knows here in our group what's in a hot dog. Oh my God, I can't even say it on the air. So you can look it up if you want. According to scriptures, this collecting of more than necessity, acahara, is prohibited. Now the entire world is suffering because of it. Yeah, and cancer is there. Again, very interesting, Ram Raghava. They've been spending billions of dollars to solve the cancer problem. And still, after 60, 70, 80 years of studying the cancer problem, there is no solution. Why? Because they're crazy. Collecting and eating more than necessary also causes prayasha, or unnecessary endeavor. By God's arrangement, anyone in any part of the world can live very peacefully if he has some land and a milk cow. Simple. There is no need for man to move from one place to another to earn a livelihood. For one can produce food grains locally and get milk from the cows. That can solve all our economic problems. Fortunately, man has been given higher intelligence for the cultivation of Krishna consciousness, or the understanding of God's relationship with him, and the ultimate goal of life, love of God. Unfortunately, so-called civilized man, not caring for God realization, uses his intelligence to get more than necessary and simply eat to satisfy the tongue. So simple, isn't it? But because people are off target, they can't see it. It's called mundanity. By God's arrangement, there is sufficient scope for the production of milk and grains for human beings all over the world. But instead of using their intelligence to cultivate God consciousness, so-called intelligent men misuse their intelligence to produce many unnecessary and unwanted things. Like meat, for example. You can grow 20,000 pounds of potatoes on 1 acre of land, but that 1 acre of land barely feeds one cow. So crazy. Meat eating. It's insanity. These factories, slaughterhouses, brothels, and liquor shops are opened. And during the pandemic, they allowed all these things to open, and then they shut down everything else. If people are advised not to collect too many goods, eat too much, or work unnecessarily to possess artificial amenities, they think they are being advised to return to a primitive way of life. Primitive way of life. That is their unfortunate position. Human life is meant for God realization, and the human being is given higher intelligence for this purpose. Those who believe that this higher intelligence is meant to attain a higher state should follow the instructions of the Vedic literatures. By taking such instructions from higher authorities, one can actually become situated in perfect knowledge and give real meaning to life. So we're going to end there. It's already 8:34, and we've got a lot of nectar that we want to provide today in our program for all of us who are attending. And by the way, I wanted to say this. I'm very impressed with how many people came early to the program today. They were there 15 minutes before Ram Raghava. Did you see that? I think we had 14 or 15 people there early. And then it's building up. What are we at now? 28. And there's a lot more, by the way. I saw yesterday on Facebook messages, Yaśodā, that there were 117 people watching the show from there. So we don't know the numbers, but we thank everyone for attending and being a part of this sadhana bhakti educational program that we've created for everyone's benefit. So we'll move forward with Prabhupada's explanation of the philosophy in this next video. Hari Bol. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam.
So originally we are all persons, no impersonal. Krishna also says, he will say, that these soldiers, these kings, you and me, my dear Arjuna, it is not that we did not exist in the past, neither it is that in future we shall cease to exist. So this particular instruction of Krishna, that I, you and all these kings and soldiers who have assembled here, they existed as we are existing now, individual person. Similarly, they existed, individual person. And in future also, we shall exist as individual person. So where is the question of impersonal? This nonsense impersonalist, voidist. Therefore, the principle is to understand things in reality. One has to approach Krishna as Arjuna has approached. Shishya Steham. Now I am your disciple. You just teach me, Sadhima, Prapanna, I am surrendering. I am not trying to talk with you on equal level. To accept Guru means whatever Guru says, you have to accept. Otherwise don't make Guru. Don't make a fashion. You must be ready. That is called prapanna. Tad vidhi pranipatena. You can understand simply by surrendering. Not to taste Guru. I shall taste him, how much he knows. Then what is the use of making Guru? No. Therefore, Arjuna says that besides you, there is nobody else who can actually satisfy me in this perplexed condition. Jachokamucho sanamindriyana. Mind, senses are being dried up. Because the superficial senses, that are not actually senses. Real sense is within. Rishikena Rishikesha Sivanam. We have to serve Kṛṣṇa, Rishikesha. Kṛṣṇa is real. And we have to come to that position of reality. Then we can serve Kṛṣṇa. Rishikena, Tatparatena Nirmala. When our senses are purified. Indriyani pararahu, indriyabba parammana. Manasastu paro buddhi. These are different stages. This bodily concept of life means senses. But when you transcend these senses, you come to the mental platform. When you transcend the mental platform, you come to the intellectual platform. When you come to the intellectual platform, when you transcend, then you come to the spiritual platform. That is spiritual form. There are different grades and steps in the gross bodily platform. We demand pratyakha jnana. Pratyakha means direct perception. There are different stages of knowledge. Pratyakha, aparakkha, pratyakha, parakkha, aparakkha, adhokhaja, aprakita. These are different stages of knowledge. So, knowledge acquired in the bodily platform, direct perception, is not real knowledge. Therefore we can challenge these science, so-called scientists. The basic principle of knowledge is on the bodily concept of life. Pratyakha. Experimental knowledge. Experimental knowledge means this gross sense perception. That is experiment. Pratyakha.
Everyone says, we do not see God. God is not such a subject matter that you can see with this pratyakha, direct perception. God's another name is Anubhava. Anubhava. Just like in this room, we do not see the sun directly, but we know that there is sun. It is daytime. How do you know it? You do not see it. But there are other processes by which you can experience. That is called aparakha, pratyakha, parokha, aparakha. In this way, Krishna consciousness means adhokhaja and aprakita, beyond the senses. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said adhokhaja, where direct perception cannot reach. So where direct perception cannot reach, then how you can perceive, anubhav? That is Sruta Pantha, that is Shruti. You have to take knowledge from the Vedas. And the Vedic knowledge is explained by Guru. Therefore, one has to take shelter of Krishna as the Supreme Guru or his representative. Then all these troubles, means ignorance, can be dissipated. Tachokocha sanamindriyana.
So filled with information. Pierangelo? Amazing. Just a short lecture by Śrīla Prabhupāda. And he mentioned about we will not cease to exist, never cease to exist. And we are Satchidananda, eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. Eternal, full of knowledge and happiness. And then he further talked about test the Guru. Prabhupada Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, as you know, Prabhupada tested his Guru because he was a member of Mahatma Gandhi's movement. And then he met Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada, and he asked him questions. And when he got the answers, he accepted Bhaktisiddhanta as his guru, and he left that movement of Mahatma Gandhi. He left it. And he took up the real revolution, which was the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya, under his guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And we are in the same position. We have to hear from Śrīla Prabhupada, accept what he says, surrender to him, and take up the mission with him. So we have to test the Guru. And you can test the Guru by reading his books and associating with his bona fide disciples. And there are different grades of advancement in spiritual life. And we'll discuss those in detail as we continue on with these programs, going through the science of self-realization, very detailed explanations of how to get out of this Vichaya Pandit, this cycle of birth and death. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. We're going to move forward with our next section, which is the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and then the reading and discussion from the Delhi Bhagavatams, which we are distributing globally. If anybody wants to get a set or buy some books to distribute worldwide with us, please get in touch with us and we'll facilitate you getting them. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada and the Sankirtan movement that he manifested here in the West. Harimo. And globally.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava
Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrīla Gadadhar Śivāsādi Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Sri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridham ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Swami Bhaktivedanta ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskrityam Narayanam namaskrityam Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet Tato jayam mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. Then 4, to Śrīla Vyasadeva, the author, from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1 to 4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. This reading is being conducted on the basis of the 1962 New Delhi Original Edition, and all purports, translations, and synonyms are from His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. As we do every week, we will be reading a few selected verses from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, first canto, second chapter, which explains the meaning and the benefit of hearing and studying this powerful transcendental literature. Yadanudyasina yukta karmagranti nibandhanam chindanti kovidastasya kuna kuryat kataratim. Intelligent persons do cut off the internet of the knot of reactionary work by remembrance of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not give attention to his message? Shushrushoho sradadhanasya vasudeva kataruchihi syanmahat sevaya vipra punyatirtha nishevanat. O the twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all ranges of vice, a standard of great service is done. And as the result of such great service, affinity in the message of Vasudeva is made possible. Shrinvatam svakata Krishna punyashravana kirtanaha ridyantasto yabadrani vidunoti surit satam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, does cleanse the desire for material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge for hearing his, Krishna's messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashta prayesha bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in the Bhagavatam class or rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious in the heart of a candidate becomes destroyed almost to nil, and thus loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, comes into being an irrevocable fact. Tadara jastamo bhava kama lobha dayaschaye chetayete rana viddam stitam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is fixed up in one's heart, at that time, the effects of the nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire and hankerings, etc., do disappear from one's heart, and he becomes fixed up in a mode of goodness, which makes him completely happy. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhaktiyo gataha bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. Thus, when one is positively fixed up in a mode of unalloyed goodness, the enlivened-minded man affected by contact of devotional service of the Lord can positively know scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarva samshaya shiyante chasya karmani drishtaye vatmanishvare. The knot of one's heart is thus pierced, and all misgivings are cut into pieces. The chain of fruitive actions are terminated along with the seeing of oneself, the dominating factor. Let us proceed with our verse for today. We are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7, text number 24. Saeva jivalokasya maya mohita chetasaha vidatse svena viryena shreyo dharmadi lakshanam. Sa, that transcendence, eva, certainly, jivalokasya, of the conditioned living beings, maya mohita, captivated by the illusory energy, chetasaha, by the heart, vidatse, execute, svena, by your own, viryena, influence, shreyo, ultimate good, dharmadi, four principles of liberation, lakshanam, characterized by, translation by Śrīla Prabhupāda. And yet, although you are beyond the purview of the material energy, you do execute the four principles of liberation characterized by religiosity, etc., for the ultimate good of the conditioned souls. Purport by His Divine Grace, Śrīla Prabhupāda. The personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, out of his causeless mercy, descends on the manifested world without being influenced by the material modes of nature. Because he's eternally beyond the material manifestations, he descends out of his causeless mercy only just to reclaim the fallen souls who are captivated by the illusory energy by heart. At heart only, they're attacked with the influence of the material energy, and as such, they want to enjoy her by false pretext, although in essence, the living entity is unable to enjoy. He is eternally the servitor of the Lord, and when he forgets this position at heart, only he thinks of enjoying the material world, but factually he is an illusion. The Lord descends to eradicate this false sense of enjoyment of conditioned soul, and thus reclaims him again back to Godhead. This is the all-merciful nature of the Lord for the fallen souls. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Gurave Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandana Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadate Visheshatah Adadana Strinam Dante Ridam Yache Punaha Punaha Śrīmad Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatusmyam Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Satkaromisvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. These prayers by Arjuna to Lord Krishna are in connection with the release of the Brahmastra weapon by Aśvatthāmā. Aśvatthāmā had killed the 5 sons of Draupadi, and Arjuna had promised Draupadi, I will bring you this sinful wretch, this so-called Brahmabandhu, and I will arrest him. So Arjuna was pursuing Aśvatthāmā. Aśvatthāmā tried to defend himself by releasing the Brahmastra, which is an atomic weapon by mantra. Of course, nowadays, this science of releasing a mantra as powerful as an atomic bomb is not available at the moment, but it was there 5,000 years ago. And Krishna is praying to Arjuna, please free me from this great, difficult condition. In this particular text here, we see that he's praying to Krishna, and yet, though you are beyond the purview of the material energy, you execute the 4 principles of liberation characterized by religion and so on for the ultimate good of the conditioned souls. Now, it's quite significant. Prabhupada in the purport in the 4th line explains, he descends out of his causeless mercy only just to reclaim the fallen souls who are captivated by the illusory energy by heart. Now, this is quite significant because in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, why does he come? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Krishna comes whenever there is the decrease in religion and an increase in irreligion. He says, at that time I come myself. 5,000 years ago, that was the situation where the earth was overburdened by various military forces harassing the devotees. Now the question comes, well, we know when he comes. Why does he come? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam dharmasam stapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. It's in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Oh, very nice. Thank you, Ram Raghava. Let's see the Prabhupada's translation, exact translation. In order to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish the principles of religion, I advent myself millennium after millennium. So the question was once asked to Śrīla Prabhupada, when does the original form of Lord Krishna come? The form of Krishna, Dvibhuja Murali Krishna, Shyamasundar, when does he come? Because there's numerous incarnations. And Prabhupada's reply was basically that Krishna comes once in a day of Lord Brahma. Bhagavad Gita explains the length of a day of Lord Brahma. Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Aharyad Brahmano Viduhu. That 1,000 cycles of the Chatur Yugas, that's 4,320 million years. And then you multiply by 2 because there is 1 day of Brahma and 1 night of Lord Brahma. So 8 billion. Somebody was saying something? So that's 8 billion years and so many millions of years. It's a very rare occurrence. He doesn't come every day. So this particular incarnation of Lord Krishna is very special. And Lord Chaitanya comes whenever Krishna comes in that same yuga. Just like in India, whenever there is a marriage or some special ceremony, tent opening, they will do what is called a sankalpa. They have some pundits, they will recite what is the universal time, adhya brahmanaha dvitiya pararde, that this is the second half of the life of Lord Brahma, the chief engineer of the universe. Shveta Varaha Kalpe, this is the Kalpa, Shveta Varaha Kalpa. Ashtabhim Chatime, the 28th section of that Kalpa. And then they recite, this is Bharatakande in the land of Bharatavarsha. Like that, they give the exact place of this ceremony, the exact time of this ceremony, and what is this ceremony for. Just like the last ceremony we did at the beginning, we have this special worship of the Vishnu Kumbha. You may have noticed, for every time you see a picture of Prabhupada doing a fire sacrifice, Śrīla Prabhupada installed a kumbha with water, a coconut, some mango leaves of some special grass, and there's special prayers that are recited, or kirtan. We recite this mantra, Om Apavitra Pavitrova, Sarvavashtam Gato Piva, Yasmaret Pundarikaksham Sa Bhakhya Bhyantara Suchihi, Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu. Because this was introduced by Śrīla Prabhupada himself for every ceremony. First initiation ceremony, second initiation, marriage ceremony, temple openings, special events, because this purifies the whole atmosphere. Prabhupada used to explain, Sa Bhakhya Abhyantara Suchihi, by remembering the lotus-eyed personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, Pundarikaksham, one becomes purified internally, Bhakhya, Abhyantara, and internally. We recite the name of Lord Vishnu 3 times. We had an interesting event one time when we met one of the big Shankaracharyas in South India. And the Shankaracharya told Achyutananda, you cannot wear this janu, because he saw that Achyutananda was wearing the Brahmin thread. He says, you cannot wear this janu, because in your life you ate meat, so you are not qualified to be a Brahmin. So Achyutananda posed a very interesting question to the Swami. That, never mind, this is one of the biggest pandits in India. He is one of the 4 Shankaracharyas, very, very learned Swami. Achyutananda quoted him a verse from the Vishnu Purana, that by chanting one name of Lord Vishnu, one name of Krishna, all the karma for millions of years is immediately finished. That is the power of the name of Lord Vishnu. Namno hi yavati shakti hi papa nirharane harehe, tavat kartum na shaknoti patakam patakinaraha. This verse is given by Sanatana Goswami and Gopal Bhatta Goswami in Hari Bhakti Vilas. It is also given by Madhvacharya in one of his books. Now, the point is, the question was, is the name of Krishna more powerful, or is the eating of meat more powerful? Which is more powerful? And the Swami had to admit, yes, you are correct. But of course, due to a lot of caste Brahmanism and caste nonsense, a lot of them, even though you will give him quotes from the Shastra, they may not accept. So the point is that if we take shelter of the instruction of the pure devotee, all transcendental knowledge will come, all purification will come, all progress will come, all prosperity will come. There is a place in the Bhagavatam where Prabhupada explains that even in this age, the whole atmosphere of the world can be changed to Vaikuntha if people stop this animal killing and take to Krishna consciousness. Of course, one of the biggest problems we face nowadays is the proliferation of many sahajiyas and dharmadvajis, pretenders, and nonsense people claiming that they were appointed by Prabhupada as his successors. Of course, when you ask them to prove what is that claim, they fail. It's an F-. If you go to school and get an F, guess what? You don't pass. You go to law school, you go to medical school, you go to accounting school, you go to engineering school. If you take all the classes, when you pass the final exam, if you don't pass the exam, guess what? You're going to have to take it again. You may have to take the class again. So for a devotee, there is a test. How much are we following the instruction of the Acharya? Acharyavan Purusho Veda. This is from the Chandogya Upanishad. Prabhupada used to often quote this, that for one who has taken shelter of the Acharya, he is protected, he is under the shelter of the Acharya, following the instruction of the Acharya, that person will understand everything according to proper perspective. But we see that persons deviate from the order of the Acharya, from the instructions of the bona fide Acharya, from the example given by the bona fide Acharya. It simply creates confusion. People may say, well, who are you to say that? Well, it's not me, it's Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Sruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatikra Vidim Vina Ekantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpata Yeva Kalpate. Utpat means chaos. If one does not follow the Shruti, the Smriti, the Puranas, the Pancharatras, and the instruction of the Acharyas, it will simply create chaos in human society, both in devotional society and in human society. That's why Prabhupada used to warn, don't imitate. Don't imitate the Acharya. Just follow the instruction. But now a whole generation of people have concocted so many nonsense interpretations, so many nonsense speculations of Prabhupada's teachings. And one of the worst concoctions is this bogus idea, not only of this so-called bridge preaching, which Prabhupada never introduced, but changing the books of the Acharya, claiming that they had to adjust the book to try to please so-called scholars and academics and correct the so-called mistakes in Prabhupada books. How did the Bhagavad Gita make so many devotees around the world? How did so many heads of philosophy department, religion department, Sanskrit scholars, and so many people write wonderful reviews of that book? Were they all idiots? They could not read? They could not understand what the book was saying? No, they understood very well who this person was. He was especially empowered to deliver the message of Bhagavad Gita. How did people coming from Lesha families, Yavana families, become Vaishnavas? By his spiritual potency. It can happen today. Krishna Consciousness movement never meant to be the personal business of an elitist class of people. That was not the purpose of ISKCON. The purpose is to distribute the knowledge of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to benefit people so that they can practice spiritual life and make spiritual advancement under the shelter and guidance of the bona fide current Acharya, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. Yeah. Hare Krishna, back to you in the studio. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bo, glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda. I'll just get my gear back on here. Yes, very important points that you've made, especially about the changing of the books, because this is Shastra. Whatever the spiritual master speaks is Shastra. Just like Lord Chaitanya, whatever he spoke was Shastra, scripture. It wasn't just words. So Prabhupada's books are the representation of his Vani incarnation, and they shouldn't be changed. It's not necessary. Now, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, it's interesting to note, we have the display of the Delhi Bhagavatams on the screen. Now, these particular books have quite a few errors in the publication. There's spelling mistakes, for example. There might be some grammatical errors. Because of the time and place they were produced. But did they lack any transcendental potency? Zero. They had total transcendental potency. In fact, it must be said that in the beginning of our mission, when Prabhupada started it, we only had those books. Remember, he came from India with them in trunks. And these Delhi Bhagavatams were the books that were distributed to the different centers in the early days, and we used them for classes. Now, Makshim, it should be noted that when we had our temple in Hamilton, it wasn't really a temple per se, it was a house. But we were living there, I think it was about 14 of us, but we all didn't have a set of the books. We only had one set for the center. And we used that as the tool for presenting Bhagavatam class in the morning. One set only. And we all used to share the set. And in this way, we became educated from these books. And they still remain, personally, and I think for many of us who have them, our favorites. There's such authenticity in the writing and the presentation. If you look back at Prabhupada's history of how he created them, it's part of a wonderful transcendental adventure that Prabhupada undertook when he got on the Jaladuta boat and came to America by himself with no money to present Krishna consciousness to the Western-speaking countries on the orders of his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Is this a wonderful story to hear when you hear it? And do you ever get tired of hearing it? I never get tired of looking at the picture of the boat that Prabhupada was on. And as you know, I've had the great opportunity to meet one of the key figures in his pastime, Sumati Maharaj, who gave him the ticket. She invited me to a private meeting with her at her estate in Bombay when I was visiting Bombay during the early stages of the construction of the Bombay temple that Prabhupada was at. We went there because the Mayapur Vrindavan festival was a 3-stop festival. We made it, myself and Nandi Yaśodā, we made it a 4-stop festival. Because what we did was, we'd go to Mayapur, Prabhupada was there in Mayapur, so whenever we arrived, he was already there, so we would attend all the classes. You remember the time he went around the temple in the morning, ringing the bell? You'll see pictures of him. I was in the lineup. I was in the back. I was just enjoying the opportunity to be with Prabhupada. He came down early and chanted with us. And then after that, when Prabhupada was leaving Mayapur to go to Vrindavan, it was a bit of a pause for us. We would immediately leave and go to Jagannath Puri and stay there and visit all those wonderful places that are described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I can remember chanting my rounds at the place where Haridas Thakur chanted his, where Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had a room and he could see the Jagannath temple from that room. And I can remember being in the room and chanting exactly in the place where he was chanting. And we went around to all those places. And then after that, we immediately went to Vrindavan, and Prabhupada was there. And he would give all the classes. And it was so wonderful to be in association with him and all of his disciples. And this movement was burgeoning. It was growing by the potency of his personal presence and the Delhi Bhagavatams. Yes. And then later on, we went to Bombay. We were going there because Prabhupada would go there as it started to evolve. So we were on this parikram across India to associate with the pure devotee, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, who created an amazing movement, everyone. And when you see all the pictures, Vijaya Pandit, in the program here, of Prabhupada with his disciples, it was ecstatic. and they were ecstatic people. There was internal struggle and strife amongst people because of the neophyte position we were all in. But at the same time, there were moments of ecstasy and transcendental bliss in this society of devotees that Śrīla Prabhupāda created. And that, unfortunately, has been disturbed by Sahajiism. So much Sahajiism based on personal motives of so many different people. And that's the business of the mundaner. Yes, the mundaner, the person posturing, posing, and pretending in this world to be somebody when they're nobody. They're 1/10,000th the tip of a hair. They're insignificant in 8,400,000 species of life. And you think you're important? You're lost in false ego, my friend. That's what you are. And that's unfortunate for you and not for any of us. Because we understand one very important thing, Nilesh. We are the servants of the servants of the servants of the personality of perfection, Śrīla Prabhupada, the perfect spiritual master for all of us in his personal presence and in his Vani incarnation. So we're going to move to another section of our class, which is Our Living Guru. And we're going to read from there some passages to give us more understanding how Prabhupada is living in sound with us and how people have deviated from that by their misbehavior. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Okay, we are reading from the little booklet, Our Living Guru, which was published in 1993 in Badger, California. We are reading from section number 2.6. Question: the Living Guru Project still advises the aspirant to accept their appointed people as eternal preceptor gurus, even though they display symptoms of being still materially conditioned. Does Śrīla Prabhupada sanction this arrangement? Answer: Śrīla Prabhupada. When a person has attained the topmost position of Mahabhagavata, he is to be accepted as guru, and worshipped like Hari. Only such a person is eligible to occupy the post of guru. Let me just repeat that for those who didn't quite understand this, other people. Only such a person is eligible to occupy the post of guru, unquote. From Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 24, text 330. Section 2.7. But doesn't Śrīla Prabhupada recommend that in a crisis, such as following the disappearance of the completely Krishna conscious eternal preceptor guru, we may accept as our eternal preceptor guru someone who is less than completely Krishna conscious? Answer: in a word, no. Quote, in this verse, Nectar of Instruction, text 5, page 56-57, Śrīla Rupa Goswami advises that the devotee must be intelligent enough to distinguish between the Kanishta-adhikari neophyte, Madhyam Adhikari intermediate, and Uttam Adhikari fully liberated, completely Krishna conscious. The devotee should also know his own position and should not try to imitate a devotee situated on a higher platform. Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur has given some practical hints to the effect that an Uttamadhikari can be recognized by his ability to convert many fallen souls to Vaishnavism. One should not become a spiritual master unless he has attained the platform of Uttamadhikari. A neophyte Vaishnava or a Vaishnava situated on the intermediate platform can also accept disciples, but such disciples must be on the same platform, and it should be understood that they cannot advance very well toward the ultimate goal of life under his insufficient guidance. Therefore, a disciple should be careful to accept an Uttamadhikari as a spiritual master. But after 1977, new disciples, regardless of how careful, supposedly could not accept the Uttamadhikari Śrīla Prabhupada as their spiritual master. The Living Guru Project was advancing the idea that for practical purposes, Śrīla Prabhupada was dead and that we needed one of their appointed living gurus. To maintain the pure eternal disciplic succession, the Living Guru Project would provide a physically present person for new disciples to worship. So despite Śrīla Prabhupada's clear warnings, new disciples would now have to accept as their eternal preceptor guru a non-realized neophyte. They would have to worship that neophyte as if he were an Uttamadhikari. And that neophyte living guru would have to imitate an Uttamadhikari, Śrīla Prabhupada, at his peril. Just want to make a comment here. In the early 1970s in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, India, Prabhupada was giving a lecture where he was explaining the three classes of devotees. When it came down to explaining the Madhyamadhikari, Śrīla Prabhupada explained that the Madhyamadhikari has to be very careful not to associate with the demons because, again, he may become a demon, unquote. Now, this is very important because many people have not understood the danger of this imitation disease. In other words, there's two kinds of Madhyamadhikaris. There's the Madhyamadhikari who comes from the lower platform of a Kanishtadhikari, and then there's the Madhyamadhikari like Śrīla Prabhupada who comes from the higher platform, the Paramamsa Mahabhagavata Uttamadhikari platform, who comes down for preaching and show by example. One has to be very careful, especially those who come from the lower platform, because imitation of an Uttamadhikari is never recommended. As a matter of fact, in the Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada said one should not imitate a Uttamadhikari unless imitate a Mahabhagavat unless he's self-realized. Otherwise, eventually he will become degraded, unquote. Thank you very much. Back to you in the studio.
Well, it's very important to note, Prabhu, that there is vikarmic responsibility for these actions, prohibited by the Shastra, and the reactions can be severe. So everyone should be mindful of this, that if you try to pose, posture, or pretend to be something you're not, it's very bad karma. We're going to go to our next section, Ram Raghava, where we do ask people within our program to ask questions. And I believe we have a question from one of our members, Śrīla Rupa Devi Dasi. She had a question yesterday. She likes to carry on, Ram Raghava, that the program doesn't stop. That's her thing. She wants it to go for hours. But a lot of the people that get in touch with us, they don't like to leave the program. They feel there's an emptiness that comes back in their life, right, Rochisha Devi Dasi? She's like that too. She loves the program. So I told her, well, save your question and we'll have it tomorrow. So go ahead, Ram Raghava. Let's read this question and get Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu to answer it.
Okay, Hare Krishna. As Vishwakarma Prabhu has touched upon yesterday, when new devotees join a Bhagavad Gita class midway, say in chapter 14 or 15, they often struggle with thoughts like, I don't know the background or context. Everyone else already understands. I might misunderstand something. Do I need to know Sanskrit to get the real meaning? Should I go back and read from the introduction first? Maybe I'm not spiritually ready for this. I want to ask questions, but I don't want to sound foolish. I am not a good devotee. Question 1. How should such devotees approach the Gita? And question 2. What mindset and method would you recommend so they feel confident and included? even if they're joining midway and don't yet know Sanskrit?
Hold on. One point to be understood here with regard to knowing Sanskrit, that is not a requisite for understanding spiritual life. There is one lecture what Prabhupada gave, said Krishna looks at the devotion of the devotee. One of Krishna's name is Bhavagrahi Janardana, one who takes the essence of a devotee's devotional offering or devotional mentality, not how much Sanskrit or whether he's a Sanskrit scholar. I mean, some of the biggest Sanskrit scholars in India are Mayavadis. They're impersonalists. They're not even devotees. And they have so many different misunderstandings and misconceptions, although they're very fluent and very expert in Sanskrit grammar and everything. So knowing Sanskrit is not important. But having said that, Prabhupada did recommend that devotees should learn to pronounce the Sanskrit properly, because it's not an easy language to learn. It's very scientific. But it's not a requirement for understanding Bhagavad Gita or spiritual life. That's the first point. Another point is very basically that I quoted here from the Nectar of Devotion lecture in Bombay on January 4th, 1973, that Prabhupada was explaining. Similarly, his representative is also a friend for everyone. As Krishna comes, descends to reclaim all fallen souls back to home, back to Godhead, similarly, his representative devotee, he also approaches everyone, tries to get him back to home, back to Godhead, Suridam Sarvabhutana. In other words, the point being that a pure devotee like Śrīla Prabhupada is presenting the teachings. He's directly in touch with Krishna. And he's presenting the teachings of Bhagavad Gita to attract people to come back home, back to Godhead, to start their spiritual life, to basically go ahead spiritually and commence their journey back to home, back to Godhead. Now, there's no big special qualification for this. There's no knowledge of Sanskrit or anything. As a matter of fact, for those of you who are familiar, the first little writing that Prabhupada did in America was a little 2-page sheet called On Chanting the Mahamantra. In that sheet, Prabhupada says, even a child can take part of it, or even a dog can take part in the chanting. So there's no pre-qualification. For example, if you try to go to engineering school, they may require some qualification, pre-qualification. If you go to medical school, they want to see you've taken so many prior classes before you go to medical school. Same thing for law school. Same thing for accounting school. They want to make sure that you're qualified to take down these advanced fields of knowledge. But the bhakti process has no qualification. And one of the best examples is given in the Mahabharata. Duryodhana had cooked a very elaborate big feast for Krishna. And Krishna did not accept his feast. But when Vidura, the pure devotee, wanted to offer him a banana, Vidura was so excited, he took the peel and offered the peel to Krishna and threw the banana. And Krishna started to eat the peel. Why? Because it was offered with devotion. What does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati. That the whole process is that we offer to Krishna whatever we have, a leaf, a flower, some fruit, some water, with love and devotion. Yo me bhaktya. That is the essence of it. And by offering with devotion under the guidance and instruction of the spiritual master, then one will make spiritual advancement. This is the mindset, the bhakti mindset. Now, there's a class of people, this is again, because we discussed these things in quite detail in this program. There are many people who misunderstand the whole process that Prabhupada has given. Like some people say, well, this is not the standard. You people are saying that you should offer by these mantras that Prabhupada given, Namo Vishnu Padaya, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Namo Mahapadanyaya, Namo Brahmanya Devaya. But in the Shastra, like Hari Bhakti Vilas and other Shastras, and even other Sampradayas, they do things different. Well, we're not here to criticize what any of the other Sampradayas are doing. That is quite fine. We're not expert in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. That is not what we're presenting ourselves here. What we're trying to say is one should follow the examples and directives of the empowered Acharya, Śrīla Prabhupada, His Divine Grace Śrīla Prabhupada, the current Acharya of the Gaudiya Sampradaya, because this is the method for actual spiritual success. This is the method. So the point being is that Prabhupada gave a perfect system according to time, place, and circumstances. All we have to do is follow that simple system, and it's going to work, whether or not somebody is new, somebody knows Sanskrit, doesn't know Sanskrit. That's why in our program, we've gradually introduced some kirtan, some japa, explanation of the 10 offenses, some sections and experts of lectures for Śrīla Prabhupada. Anybody, regardless of their level of advancement or their understanding or familiarity with the teachings, can take part and get some benefit. As simple as that. Back to you in the studio.
We've got more questions. Ram Raghava, here's another question for Yaśodā. Please, if you could read it for us.
Okay. Bhakta Vaibhav writes, Hare Krishna Prabhu Jai Śrīla Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. I have one question. How should we preach to the devotees who are in ISKCON but confused if they should be there or not? And most important, how should I try to bring them here to join the session and understand from you, Prabhus?
Well, you can invite them to the class. That's one thing. You can invite them to check our website, HareKrishnaSociety.org, Krishna, K-R-S-H-N-A. You can tell them to read Prabhupada's original books. And even without all that, if somebody chants Hare Krishna sincerely without offense, ultimately they will get some direction and some inspiration from the Super Soul and Śrīla Prabhupada in the right direction. It also depends, what is their real motivation? What are they practicing Krishna consciousness for? In other words, this whole process here is a process of resetting what is the proper understanding of Śrīla Prabhupada's teachings in the modern age. Because there's been so many different interpretations. There's been so much speculation of what Prabhupada really intended, what he really meant, what he really wanted. Okay, my point is, let Prabhupada speak for himself. This is our policy here at this program. Vishwakarma Prabhu coined the point, Prabhupada's books are his Vani incarnation, and the duty of a devotee who wants to make spiritual advancement is to submit his 2 ears to hear from Śrīla Prabhupada submissively, take part in the chanting, learn to offer the bhoga properly to the Krishna, Prabhupada, and Lord Chaitanya, and make progress with this system, and try to get Prabhupada's original first edition books. This is the system. As far as how to convince them, if they're serious, let them come. Let them come and hear. If they have some other idea, then you can control that. You know, there's many different groups out there offering a smorgasbord of different philosophies, different interpretations, different new meanings, different people preaching that Prabhupada was just teaching the basics in the beginning, and somebody is teaching the big Rasika Bhakti or the Prema Bhakti. We say, no, Prabhupada taught everything. Prabhupada says, I've give you everything. So simply the process is to hear from the bona fide realized Acharya. You can invite them to do that. Hare Krishna.
Well, one thing too, Prabhu, is they're confused. These people in ISKCON are very confused, and we have to understand that if you explain it to them, they may get angry. They may get upset. People that are sincere will come. Just like some people come and then they go with us because they don't have the determination, they don't have the enthusiasm to take up spiritual life and understand Prabhupada's teachings without adulteration. Somehow or other, they want to be cheated. And if you want to get cheated, there will be many people that will cheat you. So these people, I have a question, should we preach to devotees? You can try and see what happens. And then eventually you may see that they don't want to hear, they're not interested, they're not sincere. Eh, Vijaya Pandit? Look at you in Italy. How many people you've gone to try to explain the truth, and how many of them accept what you say? Go ahead, answer that, Vijay Pandit. How many people in Italy are accepting what you tell them?
Well, many of them don't want to hear, absolutely not. Some of them are coming to the program, but now I'm away from Italy. Usually they come to visit me and listen to class with me, but they are just 2 or 3, sometimes 4. But most of the people don't want to hear, absolutely.
That's right. Think about it. How many devotees are in Italy from the ISKCON group? Speak up, please, a little louder to your mic.
Well, I think 500.
Louder.
Louder.
I think 500 devotees.
500 devotees. He talks to them. He distributes books.
Maybe more, I don't know. Maybe
And only 2 or 3. Many are called, few are chosen. And just one last point, and then we'll go to another question. Go ahead, please.
I distributed in the past the book, Our Living Guru, in Italian language, and Śrīla Prabhupada Siddhanta. Actually, many people helped me to print this book, and they got this book then after, and but just a few replied about the book. But in any case, they received the book and they helped me to print the book. This is already something very good, no? Around 35 people to 40 people give a donation to print these books in the past. So something happened. That's it.
Anyway, do your best. We can perform our duty without attachment to the results, but we should try to do it. Ram Raghava, we have another question I see. Go ahead, from Shrestha Rupa Devi Dasi. Go ahead, read it out for Yaśodā.
Hare Krishna, okay. Her next question was, would it be a sin if we read the Sanskrit verse with wrong pronunciation, or is that applicable only to mantra?
Well, it's not a sin to try to pronounce the Sanskrit, even if there's defective pronunciation. I mean, although Prabhupada said many times that Krishna consciousness does not depend on knowledge of Sanskrit, other times he told Pradyumna, why is it that devotees are not pronouncing the Sanskrit properly? There was complaints during Prabhupada's manifested presence. Some of his godbrothers complained that the disciples and devotees do not pronounce Sanskrit properly. So Prabhupada requested Pradyumna to train the devotees to pronounce the Sanskrit, because Pradyumna was an accomplished Sanskrit scholar. I'm referring to Panditji, that's the name that Prabhupada gave him. And one time Prabhupada said, the problem with trying to train you Westerners as Brahmins is trying to wash coal. And Pradyumna says, wash coal, what is that? I said, well, if you try to wash coal, you're going to be dirty in the beginning and dirty at the end. I said, the devotees have to be trained to first behave like Brahmanas, pronounce Sanskrit properly. It's not very difficult. It's just a very systematic system of pronunciation, which is different than French, English. It's actually very similar to Latin. Sanskrit, Greek and Latin were originally derived from Sanskrit. According to Śrīla Prabhupada, Sanskrit was the original language on this planet many thousand years ago. So it's not complicated or difficult to pronounce. It's not difficult, but simply one has to be a little patient, because some of it gets a little complicated, especially with pronunciation of Vedic mantras, which have ups and downs, or short syllable, long syllables, and all kinds of things. Most Sanskrit in the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, various Mahabharata, Ramayana is naturally simpler, easy. But anybody can try. It's not complicated. It's not a sin to read the Sanskrit wrong, but it's good to make an effort to learn. It's actually a very pleasant language, a very poetic language that anybody can learn and chant. I mean, if you listen to Śrīla Prabhupada chanting the Shikshastakam, it's available on YouTube. Prabhupada chanting the Goswami Astakam, or Prabhupada chanting the prayers to Queen Kunti. There's a lot of different beautiful songs that Prabhupada chant, and it is It is so transcendental and melodious. So it's a matter of trying to learn, or learning the Brahma Samhita. Now I found out that there are some ladies in South India, they came from some Mayavadi family, affiliated with one of the biggest gurus in India. They chanted the Brahma Samhita, very, very melodious and perfect pronunciation. Great service, actually, which shows Śrīla Prabhupāda's influence, that even these people want to chant the Brahma Samhita, which is a Vaishnava hymn. It's available on YouTube. It's like amazing. If anybody wants to hear it, just send me an email. I'll send you the link. It's very interesting. Very interesting. You can all listen to Prabhupada chanting Brahma Samhita. He sings it perfectly. That's a good way to learn Sanskrit as well. I hope that helps.
Ram Raghava, let's go. There's another question from her. Question 3. Go ahead.
Yes, Prabhu. Question 3 is, Prabhu, Śrīla Prabhupada accomplished so much, writing countless books, teaching classes, chant his rounds, traveling nonstop, and maintaining his spiritual practices. How did he manage all of this with such energy and focus? What did a typical day in his life look like that kept him so inspired and productive? Could you share from your experience, Prabhus?
Well, there are many different statements by Śrīla Prabhupada. And the first and foremost statement Prabhupada said, because sometimes people ask Śrīla Prabhupada whether or not he had some magic or some mystical powers. And Prabhupada said, no, I just presented Bhagavad Gita as it is, just presented the message exactly as I received from my spiritual master. Now, Prabhupada made a lot of statements about himself. I remember one time I really got a laugh out of it. Prabhupada was talking in his early days in New York. Prabhupada said, I was like a vagabond, just going here and there in New York on the subway. Prabhupada was very humble. But the point to remember is that Prabhupada was especially empowered. He was an Nitya Siddha, an eternally pure devotee who never forgot Krishna ever in his life. There is a letter Prabhupada wrote to one devotee in 1970. Prabhupada said, I never forgot Krishna at any time in my life, even though I had plenty of opportunities for sinful activities. I never engaged in any breaking of the principles or forgot Krishna. So that is the characteristic of a Nitya Siddha, an eternally liberated pure devotee. The point is that Prabhupada was especially empowered. As far as his schedule, a typical day, Prabhupada would, after everybody went to sleep, 9:30, 10 o'clock, from 9 to 10 o'clock at night, Prabhupada would start the translation. He had his dictaphone. He would be in his room translating. I had the chance one time in 1977 of watching Prabhupada translate. He had this big, massive, it's a big, huge book. It's about 7-8 inches thick with all the Sanskrit commentaries of all the Vaishnava-acharyas. And he would translate from that. He had the commentary of Bhaktivedanta Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, both of Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he would concentrate, and sometime he would stop. It would be like almost like a meditation, and he would start again. So that would go on till the early hours of the morning, and he would not sleep much at night, maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And even in his sleep, because in 1977, when they had the opportunity and the chance to massage his feet at night before he went to bed, sometimes he would sleep a little bit, and then you would hear Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita. And then he would go back and rest a little bit more. Then we would start again chanting the Maha Mantra softly, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Another time he would sing some songs about Lord Chaitanya. In other words, he was not in deep sleep and a mode of ignorance. He was just resting, but his consciousness was always with Krishna. And interestingly, in the Nectar of Devotion, there is a statement that great transcendentalists in all 3 stages of life, the waking stage, the sleeping stage, and the dreaming stage, are never under the influence of the material energy. They're always thinking of Krishna, of the Supreme Lord. So this was Prabhupada's position. He was especially empowered, but who else could do what he did? I mean, people, when you grow a little older, like persons like Vishwakarma and myself, is that your body will experience certain difficulties. As you grow older, the body has, but Prabhupada had so much energy. I mean, we noticed, we went on morning walks with him and he would walk faster than us, and we were young men. I mean, this was a very especially empowered person. So in the morning, he would get up, he would chant. Prabhupada chanted 64 rounds a day. So he would chant on his rounds, and then he would have his morning walk. He would come back, give a Bhagavatam class. He would take a little prasadam, and then he would get his massage later on, late in the morning. Then he would, after massage, take his bath, chant his Gayatri. And then he would take in the afternoon a little bit of rest. Late in the afternoon, he would receive visitors, especially in India. In late afternoon, between 4, 7, 8 o'clock, he would receive visitors, speak with dignitaries and everything. And then the same evening program would be there. So it's, but in India, many times, especially in the beginning, he would go to life members' house or different invitations and preach to them, because Prabhupada understood the importance of preaching to these local people to get them involved in taking part in the movement. That's why he introduced the life membership program, that people who could not join to become brahmacharis or sannyasis because they have families, they have wives, they have children, they have businesses, he engaged them in giving a little bit of money, coming to the temple, participating, read the books. And in this way, the movement grew, especially in India, by that approach. In America, it was more of a direct approach in the street, chanting in the streets, going to distribute books and everything else. And this was the standard program. I remember when I visited Toronto with Sripati in 1970, very early in the spring, we were going on Yonge Street. But in those days, you went on Sankirtan for hours. You would go 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. So it's like, it was a big austerity, but it was very blissful, because we would see people taking Prabhupada's books, taking Back to Guided magazines. We would approach them with cards, invite them to the Sunday feast, give them a little piece of incense, talk to them about Krishna. We would go back chanting. So this was a very systematic program that Prabhupada introduced to bring people to Krishna consciousness. That was a typical day what Prabhupada had, and he introduced the whole system of Sankirtan in his movement. I hope that helps. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Beautiful, beautiful pastimes of Śrīla Prabhupada that we're all hearing in these classes, and in this way inspiring us to take up devotional service following in his footsteps. We've got questions always coming to our program, and we'll be here on Wednesday and Saturday and Sunday next week. We're going to move to our next stage of the program, which is another lecture by Śrīla Prabhupada. So let's run that, Ram Raghava.
So, this problem of fighting, we have to understand that fighting spirit is there in everyone. You cannot check it, you cannot stop it. We do not say stop. The Mayavadi philosopher says they will stop this thing, but that is not possible. You cannot stop. Because you are a living entity, you have got all these propensities, how you can stop it? But it should be utilized properly, that's all. You have got the fighting spirit, how to utilize it? Yes, Narottam Das Thakur recommends, Krodh Bhakta Deshi Jane, those who are envious of God or God's devotee, you can utilize your anger upon them. You can utilize. The anger you cannot give up. Our business is how to utilize it. That is Krishna consciousness. Everything has to be utilized. We do not say that you stop this, stop that. No. Krishna says, Jat karosi, jat juhosi, jat asnasi, jat tapassasi, kurusya tadmadarpanam. Jat karosi. Krishna does not say that you do this, you do that. He says, whatever you do, but the result should come to me. So here the position is that Arjuna is to fight not for himself, but he is only thinking in terms of himself. He says, Te avasthita pramukhe dhartarashtra janeva hatyana jijivishama. They are my brothers, relatives. If they die, we do not wish to die. Now they are in my front, I have to kill them. So still he is thinking in terms of his own satisfaction. He is preparing the background. How materialistic person, they think in terms of personal satisfaction. So that has to be given them. Not personal satisfaction. Krishna's satisfaction. And that is Krishna consciousness. Whatever you do, it doesn't matter. You have to taste it, whether you are doing it for Krishna. That is your perfection. Not only perfection, that is the perfection of your mission of human life. This human life is meant for that purpose, because less than human life, the animal life, they are trained, perfection of self-gratification, personal satisfaction. They have no such feeling that other animals also, when there is some eatable, one dog, he will think, how I can get it. He will never think how other dogs also will be able to take it. This is not animal nature. Animal nature means their own satisfaction. There is no question of my friend, my family member. They do not share even their own children. You might have seen. If there is some food stuff, the dog and the dog's children, everyone is trying to take in his own side. This is animal. So when this thing is changed for Krishna, that is human life. That is the distinction between animal life. No, that is very difficult also. Therefore the whole education is there, Bhagavad Gita, how to teach people act for Krishna, act for God, not for your personality. Then you will be intact. Jagyartha karma annatra karmayam bandhana. Anything you do, it will produce some reaction, and you have to enjoy or suffer that reaction. Anything you do. But if you do for Krishna, there is no more reaction. That is your freedom. Yoga karmasu kausalam. That is stated in the Bhagavatam. Yoga, when you are in contact with Krishna, that is the secret of success and this material working. Otherwise, whatever you are doing, whatever you are working, it will produce some reaction and you will have to enjoy or suffer. So, yeah, again, the same thing, Arjuna is thinking in terms, na chaitad vidma kataranna gariyo. So he is perplexed. Which one, which side will be glorious? I shall stop fighting or not fighting. In the next verses it will be said, when you are in such perplexity, what to do and what not to do, so in order to get right direction, you must approach the spiritual master. That will be done in the next verse. Arjuna will say that I do not know, I am now perplexed. Although I know it is my duty as Kshatriya to fight, still I am hesitating. I am hesitating in my duty. So therefore I am perplexed. Krishna, therefore I submit to you. Formerly he was talking just like friend. Now he will be prepared to take lesson from Krishna. Hare Krishna.
So Prabhupada's giving the example of the dog, Rochisha Devi Dasi, that the dog is selfishly looking for food only for himself. This is the business of the narcissist. They're only interested in themselves. Instead of serving God, Krishna, under the instructions of a bona fide spiritual master, they're simply animals. And these days, these animals, Prabhupada describes them as sophisticated dogs and cats. That's their advancement, not the advancement of the human being to understand who they are, what is the purpose of life, and how to go back home, back to Godhead in this opportunity of the human life in a very short period of time. It's a great opportunity. And we're all sharing it here at our group, the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society. And we're going to move to our next stage of the program, which is the reading of the 10 offenses. And then we're going to have our japa class. Hare Krishna.
Nectar of Devotion, Chapter 8, Offenses to be Avoided. The offenses against the chanting of the holy name are as follows. First, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Second, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. Sometimes the atheistic class of men take it that any demigod is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. But one who is a devotee knows that no demigod, however great he may be, is independently as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, if someone thinks that he can chant Kali, Kali or Durga, Durga, and it is the same as Hare Krishna, that is the greatest offense. Third, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. Fourth, to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version. Fifth, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. Sixth, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. Seventh, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. Because by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can be freed from all kinds of sinful reactions. It should not be taken that one may continue to act sinfully and after that chant Hare Krishna to neutralize his sins. Such a dangerous mentality is very offensive and should be avoided. 8. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities. Karma Kanda. 9th, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. Anyone can take part in chanting the holy name of the Lord, but in the beginning one should not be instructed about the transcendental potency of the Lord. Those who are too sinful cannot appreciate the transcendental glories of the Lord, and therefore it is better not to instruct them in this matter. 10th, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names, and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success.
I want to thank everyone for participating today in all the different facets of our program and all the questions that you have. Now, if we didn't get to your question, remember we have a panel of eight disciples, and we're going to show those names and addresses and contact information at the end of the program in our credits, so you can jot down their names if it's in your area of the world and contact them. If you have questions in Francais, you can also get in touch with Rochicha Devi Dasi in Quebec or Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu or any other devotee in your area that you want to reach and ask a question and hopefully get an answer. And then we'll share the question in our group during the week to make sure that we can satisfy you that you're going to get the answers to your questions and help you on your path back home, back to Godhead. Let's see what we got to, let me say this. Let's move forward, Ram Raghava, with the next section of the program, which is the Japa class. I believe if that's the next section. Hare Krishna.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare
Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Krishna
Rama,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Krishna, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda. Chant and be happy.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everyone for participating in this lively reading and discussion. Thanks Vishwakarma Prabhu in Yautepec, Mexico, Ram Raghava Prabhu in Georgia, Shri Sarupa Devi Dasi in South India, Rucha Mataji dans la belle province de Québec, avec la belle image de Prabhupada en arrière de toi. Vijay Pandit in Italy, or from Italy, in Twin Heart. Krishna Kata Prabhu with the beautiful display of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in San Diego, California. And we have a newcomer, Yaśodā-nandana Dāsa from Croatia. Thank you very much for participating, Mataji. Please come back. And we have Michael Dillon in Yuba City, California, Radharani in the USA, Viprahita Prabhu and his good wife, Rashika Swari in Georgia. They are both Prabhupada disciples. They are the parents of Ram Raghava. They're doing wonderful sadhana, wonderful preaching. Thank you for participating. Ambika Devi Dasi in St. Mary's, Alaska. Anshuman Mishra in Orissa. Bhakta Roy in Mississippi. Bhakta Maxim Prabhu in Belarus. Bhakta Pierangelo in Switzerland. And we have Bhakta Karan in Trinidad. Bhakta Vaibhav in India. Virabhadra Goswami Prabhu in South India, and Bhakta Roy in Mississippi, and everybody else listening. Thank you for participating. Back to you in the studio. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you on Wednesday for our Chaitanya Charitamrita reading and discussion. Carry on with your sadhana bhakti, and all glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda. Haribol. I'm listening. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey! Play that bass. Chant for peace, everyone. Don't be shy. Chant along. Chant along. Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Bo. Hare Hare Bo. Hare Bo. Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Bo. Hare Bo. Hare Bo. Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Hare Bo. Hare Hare Bo. Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare